when getting a mortgage is thinking it's a transactional process. You get a financial planner and you get someone you're going to work with for a long time. A lot of clients think they can jump on the internet and they can just get the best rate. And they don't realize that if you're working with a mortgage professional who's vested in the business, who really understands the best approach to help you, and that they're there to guide you when you want to make additional moves, or if your one day children want to make additional moves. I think that some people think it's more transactional than it is. If you're working with the right person, it shouldn't be.
Struggling to design the business of your dreams? Welcome to Designing the Business, the podcast where we go beyond beautiful spaces and dive into what it really takes to build them. I'm Risha Walden, interior designer, founder of Walden Interiors, and your host. Every week, I sit down with brilliant minds behind the scenes, builders, contractors, architects, real estate pros, brokers, artisan, and fellow creatives to talk business. We explore how they get started, what keeps them going, and how they've built a business that not only succeeds, but inspires. Subscribe now and join me each week as we design the business together. This week, I'm joined by my friend Dana Russo. She is a residential mortgage lender and expert. She's been in business for over 25 years, and her goal is to help clients finance the home of the dreams and make it clear and concise so that they understand all the financial decisions on mortgages and owning a home. She wants to make it seamless and clear. Join me in the conversation with Dana Russo. Why did you start in your business?
Well, I was in my 30s when I got into the mortgage business, and I had been in banking for about 10 years. And I really liked the relationship end of working one-on-one with clients. And I was actually a single parent at the time, so I needed flexibility. And it was a good industry then. It was very booming. And I just decided to take a chance on something a little different.
So what impact do you want to leave with the work that you do?
I would say that I would like to leave an impact of people feeling like I helped them with a really important decision, which is financing their home, and maybe provided them some clarity on how to structure things so that it gave them a lot less stress and saved them some money. And, just really modeled for them what it's about, building a relationship with someone and having someone to really look out for you and making a little bit of an impact that way.
You find most of your clients are first-time homeowners, or did you find that when you started out that they were first-time homeowners? What was that experience like?
I think a lot of them still are first-time homeowners,
Okay.
but I do have clients that have been with me for, believe it or not, like 20 years. And I've
Wow.
helped them with their first home, sell their first home and buy a move-up home or downsize. So I definitely do work with clients throughout the whole process. And I like to work with clients that are moving up too, because it's really stressful when you're selling your home and you're buying a new home and you have to figure out, especially in this market, how do we do this without a contingency to sell our home? How can we buy a home and keep our existing home and manage all of that correctly? So, that's something that I like working clients through too.
So do you have this conversation before they even have like their home picked
Yeah,
out?
I
How
mean,
does that work?
ideally, the most ideal time for me to talk to a client is when they're in the beginning phases of thinking they want to buy a home. So that generally could be a year before, 6 months before, 3 months before, because it's important to go through a bit of a process in terms of helping them understand their credit. How might they improve their credit score? What kind of home is an affordable payment for them? How to calculate your payment accurately online and not just rely on Zillow. And then it helps them look at a home that realistically they can afford, because the one big trap I find people walk into is it's such an emotional buy. And you go out thinking you can afford one thing, and then you fall in love with a house that's over your budget. And now you're sort of backing into the process of trying to make that work. So
Mm.
it's, important to keep point A, get pre-qualified, think about your budget, really understand what are all the additional costs, And do that when you're calm before you go out and fall in love with the house.
Yes.
Because some people don't always get the right advice from their mortgage lender or their realtor, and that can lead to a really expensive mistake.
Would you say that's the biggest mistake your clients make, or what is the biggest mistake that clients make?
I think that would be one of the biggest mistakes they make is not really sitting down, particularly if it's a couple, sitting down with their partner and discussing what really is our max payment? Where should we cut it off? What is the max we want to put out of pocket? And before you go see the home, know that you can run those numbers. You're empowered to run those numbers accurately and not go look at a home that's outside your budget. So I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes people make when getting a mortgage. I think the other mistake they make is thinking it's a transactional process. I think, you get a financial planner and you get someone you're going to work with for a long time. I think a lot of clients think they can jump on the internet and they can just get the best rate. And they don't realize that if you're working with a mortgage professional who's vested in the business, who really understands the best approach to help you, and that they're there to guide you when you want to make additional moves, or if your one day children want to make additional moves. I think that some people think it's more transactional than it is. If you're working with the right person, it shouldn't be.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I've never looked at it like that. And it's I can see how that could you be way more emotional. Like you go off, I'm gonna look at this house, and then you find out you
Right.
can't actually afford it.
And the marketing is tricky in this business because people tend to go online and just want to get the best rate. It's all about that, but it's really hard to really decipher what's online and then know what you're going to get when you go under contract. Like, for example, you can't lock your mortgage interest rate until you're under contract. So you can shop all over the internet, but then by the time you go under contract, that same quoted rate might not really be the rate that you're going to get.
So is that a bait and switch from the online mortgage companies, or is that more just lack of education from the
I think it's
retail
mainly a
market?
lack of education. I would say it's mainly a lack of understanding that you could be quoted a 15-day lock, which is not the same interest rate as a 60-day lock. So a lot of
Hmm.
it is in the education.
What's your
Mm.
favorite client story?
I would say one of my favorite client stories is a longtime client I have that I helped back in my early 30s, and he was buying his first home in New Jersey. He was an accountant, him and his wife, and I helped him, and we just such a lovely person that he decided to buy investment property. So he built a portfolio of some homes, and he would come back to me for all of his financing, and I
Mm.
would advise him on what I thought, was the best way to structure. And it was nice to see him build everything. And then I helped his children because, we kept in touch through the years. And his one child just had a baby, and he has
Oh.
since moved to Florida, and I still keep in touch with him. So I think he's probably my favorite client story because it just
Oh.
shows you how that relationship really builds over time and how that really can add value to people in a way that I don't think people realize it, that happens. I think sometimes they'll say, oh, you're just going to quote a rate and that's the end of it. And it's really not that.
Yeah, that's turned into a lifetime relationship, and that's what's missing from
Yeah. Well,
working with the internet, right? You go on the internet,
yes,
like, what is
right.
there?
And the internet doesn't have your back, and they're not going to help you through difficult transactions. So, yeah,
Hmm.
it's true.
So what's the biggest misconception people have about your business?
Well, I think that it is transactional is a big
Hmm.
misconception, and that again, with the advent of technology, a lot has changed, and that has become um, something that with the younger generation they tend to rely more on technology, which I think is awesome because I rely on technology. When someone calls me, I mean, if I don't know the answer to a question, I jump on chat and I get the answer faster. The technology is great, but the human element can't be replaced.
Yeah.
So I think the relationship piece is really important still.
Yeah, I could see that. And when you're talking about a mortgage and buying a home, it even with my clients, it's the same thing. Like I'm helping them with their home, but I'm
Hmm.
also looking at like what is a home like right now they could just be a couple without any kids, but are they thinking about having more kids or
Right.
are they, are they in their later years and their kids have gone out of the house? So what or are their kids like teenagers? So when I'm helping them as an interior designer, I'm like thinking
Right.
not just now but I'm also thinking about like what is going forward? What is their dream vision going forward that's going to last them a long time?
Hmm.
Because they may not they may, putting money into something that isn't going to service them and isn't going to be part of their lifestyle, you can't calculate that on a spreadsheet. You can't tell the
Right.
spreadsheet, well, I'm going to have two kids maybe in 5 years and then, like I at
Exactly.
least maybe I don't know, maybe I don't understand the spreadsheets but or the technology, but like it's bringing all those little pieces in that
Well, yeah, and
the
you're
human
getting past
factor.
the emotion, or you're getting past the transaction and into the emotion and into what's really going on. And it's similar for me. I think you have the same conversations, just it's more about lifestyle and comfort and don't waste money on something that you might not really get a lot out of.
Mhm.
With me, it's a question of, okay, let's go over all of your assets. Let's go over all of your debts. It's possible you have some student loan debt. A lot of kids, young adults now have
Right.
student loan debt. It might be worth maybe paying off some debt. And some people don't know you can do a lower down payment and not pay mortgage insurance. And that might be a safer or a smarter way to structure things. So if you don't get to know the client with your business as well, Risha,
Right.
you
Yeah.
can't really serve them.
No, you can't. And that's,
Yeah,
that's what we are. We're educating, but we're also more importantly, we're servicing and we know that a happy client when their needs are being met, that's how you create a happy client. And that's I mean, for me,
exactly.
that's what I want. I want a happy client. I want clients coming back to me. I want them to be saying,
Yes.
"Hey," like texting me like Saturday evening. "Oh my gosh, this house is fantastic. It like did,
Yes.
the improvements have really improved my life."
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Exactly. You want to feel like you help the person. I mean, it sounds corny, but if you help someone and they call you and they're so grateful for what you did for them, that that's what the business is really about,
Yeah.
you know?
It's not about for me, it's not about, it's about people doing business with people, like
Yeah, doing
connecting
the
with
right thing.
people. Yeah. And, and through that, improving the world, really.
Right. One little tiny, tiny bit at a time.
I agree. Look at the ocean is not the ocean. It is drops, right? Every drop in
Right.
that ocean makes the ocean, right?
Right. Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah. So we're just our little ocean drops, but the good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
What advice would you give a professional starting out in your field today?
I would say to get a great mentor, um, and surround yourself with really good people, really smart people, really
Hmm.
caring people, and follow your gut and don't stay in like a toxic environment. If your company's toxic, don't stay. And I think when you're young and you're starting out, you also, you always get the feeling in your gut that something's really a great opportunity or maybe not a great opportunity. And I think when you're younger, you sometimes question that. And as you get older, you get more confident to follow that.
Right.
So I would say that that is important too for young people.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know because you're young and you think, there's such a big world out there, but
Yeah, you can.
follow your
Yeah.
gut is important.
Hmm.
Our
Yeah.
intuition tells us way more than we listen to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I had
Mm.
some opportunities when I was in my 20s and early 30s. And I remember at the time thinking, wow, that's a really good opportunity for me, professionally, or a great move. And I didn't take it. And then looking back years later, I realized, yeah, that was a miss. I should have followed my gut and done that, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yep.
It happens.
Yes, it does, right? What keeps you inspired to continue, Dana?
I think the people that I work with really keep me inspired, Risha. I love working with my clients. I'm really blessed with great clients. I am, and I have great referral partners, great we call them center of influences, which are people that we network with. We try to help them. We try to give them referrals. And when you do that, people will tend to think of you when the time comes
Mm-hmm.
around. I think I've been really fortunate. I've met a lot of great people, and I did start following my own advice years ago. Just surround yourself with really good people and keep learning, and, things flow from there.
What's one thing about yourself that you're working on changing?
I'm trying to incorporate technology more in
Mm,
my daily work habits. And so that's something that I'm working on changing. I really try to work on giving my clients the best possible experience. I want the system to be really tight so that they're very clear, so that they don't have, if they have questions, I've answered them before they ask.
mhm.
So I'm trying to incorporate technology as best I can to make that smoother, and to just get word out there because it's a lot more efficient to do that. And it's not something that for the majority of my career I had available to me. So,
Yeah, well, the
yeah,
technology that's available now is
right.
like
It's
it
amazing.
yeah, it's amazing. It can make your like, one thing you do pride yourself on is the seamless and clear communication with your clients so that they
Yeah,
know.
it's
And,
critical. Yep.
the more information and the tighter you can pull that information in, like the
Yeah.
better it is for clients. So they really can understand because it's not
Hmm.
just like a one way. It's not just like one straight road. You do this and this and this. That's not what it's like, right? Every decision can take you off. And where does that
Totally.
lead?
And they appreciate it. When you're working with the younger generation, I mean, my kids are 30 and 21. And I think of them when I'm working sometimes with younger clients because they want that. They want whatever is the most efficient and the fastest way of doing things. They want that.
Right.
And so it is important to keep adjusting.
Yeah.
That's
Well, fast is good, but
yeah.
then it's like you don't want to miss out on the fast because it's can be like, oh,
No,
I
you
did that.
don't.
Well, you didn't tell me about all of this, right? So
Right.
it's like, how do we keep it so that they understand every aspect,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
they're getting all the information,
Yeah. Yeah, like knowing when to have the conversation and knowing when the quick email is the better route,
right?
you know?
Yep. Yeah. So, what would you tell your 20-year-old self?
My 20-year-old self. I guess I would say just be fearless and go for it. Just don't hesitate. It's the time to do that in your life and to, just again, just build your business the right way and keep in touch with the right people and I guess that's what I would say to myself.
Are you acting fearlessly every day? Do you find?
I try to. It's hard to break that habit, of being completely or to develop the habit of being fearless. I think I am definitely more fearless now than I've ever been when it comes to making decisions. I do.
Do you think that what do you attribute that to? To like
I think it,
education, or is it just
I think it's confidence and maturity that
mm,
come with experience. And I think you just sort of, put it all out there a little bit faster just because time's a wasting.
time's a wasting?
Time's a
I mean,
wasting. Yeah, so I think, I'm definitely more fearless. I'll ask questions, of course, like professionally. I'm not gonna, say something that's not professional, but I'm not afraid to speak my mind and say what I need to say. I think it's also just the way things are today too. Women are more empowered.
mhm,
It's there's so much more women empowerment for my daughter's generation than we had growing up.
mhm.
And I think it's a little bit of that too that has helped that along.
Yeah. Huh. I think about like what steps I take to be fearless. What would you say is a good step to take to be fearless? I love that, like that conversation.
I mean, I think just writing down your goals and not being tentative
Mm,
to go for it and to just push forward through it and not make up excuses.
yeah, writing
I
down
think,
your goals.
yeah, I think too, just not making excuses, and changing your story. It's like the Tony Robbins
Yeah,
seminar that I visited like 20 years ago. It always resonated with me. He would say, change your story. You might be addicted to an old story. Just change
absolutely.
it,
That's funny.
you know?
That's exactly what
Yeah.
my mentor, Grant Cardone, says. He's like,
Hmm.
that's your story. If you want to believe it, go ahead, but I don't want to hear it.
Right.
He's like, I don't want to hear it. I want to know what you're like. I don't need your story. I just want to know, like, what are
Yeah.
your targets? What are your goals? Like,
Right.
that's all.
The
It
story's
doesn't
old.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, this story's
Mhm.
old. Like, it's boring.
Yeah, and
I
he
mean, he
ties it
doesn't say that,
down.
but I know like, I'm often people will ask, they'll ask a question with them, and they gotta get into this whole, "Well, when I started my business and blah, 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 blah." Like, we're getting
Right,
'cause how do you change that story? Because 30 years later, even 5 years later, things have
right.
changed.
Yeah.
You're
Mhm.
still back there.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Keep moving forward.
keep moving forward.
That's what we
Yeah.
do. Mhm.
We do, absolutely. Dana, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. And if people want to get a hold of you, where's the best place? Where should they go?
They could email me or text me or call me. That's the best way, or LinkedIn.
Okay. We'll put all your contact information below. So if you want to get a hold of Dana Russo, feel free. She'd love to have a chat with you.
Thank you, Risha.
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate
And
it. I
yeah,
appreciate you having me on. I really
yeah,
do.
so fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And then anybody want to continue watching, watch the next episode over here. And I appreciate your time, Dana. Thanks so much.
my pleasure.